You're listening to the #1 spot for markets and trading, Market Traders TV. Learn some shit.
What I'm gonna do. I was thinking of doing this before because there isn't a little clip about the idea of emotions of trading, and there is literally just 5 steps to it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna quickly summarize it for you guys who were listening to that 1 hour video recording or whatever you want to call it. So I'm gonna quickly summarize everything we're gonna talk about and what I saw, what I thought. And there are some things that are incorrect, or I perceive to be incorrect in that VOD as well, which I don't necessarily believe in, and I'll go through the explanations regarding that as well. Because while I have the time, I'm going to do a quick little 15-minute thing where we go through the emotions of it, because we have dabbled on each and every single one of them before on the stream, but what we have not done is cognitively put it all together. So there is a clip or some sort of a 15-minute thing listening into the emotions of trading, right, and the ideas and the principles toward it. So there's 5 things that you need to understand. Now this is towards the idea of trading as itself. This is towards the mentality of trading. This is towards the mentality of consistency of trading, not necessarily trading per se, but consistency. Because what you people lack, most of you guys here, is you lack the consistency. You will make money one day and you lose it all the next. You make money in 1 week and in the next week you've pretty much broken even because you've lost it all, right? You lack that consistency mechanism, and that's what those are the things. These are the things that you need to look at for that. So first and foremost is the idea of confidence in trading. Now, confidence comes from either of 2 things. One is an understanding of what's happening in the markets. It's actually learning what's happening in the markets, keeping your ear to the ground, listening to what's happening, removing your bias towards what others are saying, and understanding things very logically. That will give you the confidence to enter trades, even if you think that you're going to lose out on it. Now, confidence is a big thing, and it's one of the main things that I perceive Mike is lacking right now towards the stream accounts. Because what's been happening is, this is not, I'm not bashing you or anything like that. This is a learning environment. So what's been happening is they've been losing trades, we've been all that shit, right? So what's been happening is that the lack of the confidence is dwelled down a little bit in terms of trading and the use of trades, right? Just taking the trade, right? Not thinking about taking the trade, not expecting to take the trade, taking the trade itself. Now that is a confidence thing that people would lack because of 2 different things. One, they've been wrong consistently, so they lack the confidence to take that trade because they might be wrong again. Now, to get rid of this, a basic system is required. The idea of mitigating risk. Now, if you don't have the confidence to take the trade, what you can do is, hypothetically, let's say you got an example of 1% loss generally in your trades. Now, what you can do is, if you're lacking that confidence, this is for everyone, by the way, and everyone who listens to this clip later on. If you're lacking that confidence to trade, divide your risk. Make multiple trades with lower risk. Take 10 trades with 0.1% risk rather than 1 trade with 1% risk. Are you with me? Because what that will do is that will build up your confidence in your trading scenarios. Whatever scenario you're trading with, and Mike and everyone else has a trading scenario. Mike has a trading scenario where he only buys below VWAP at certain ranges, and he sells above VWAP at certain ranges. Right? That's an example of Mike. I mean, it's an oversimplification, but it's there. Now, you guys have a different scenario as well. Now, if you have that scenario, all you require is the push to take that trade. So the first and foremost thing you need, and most people lack in trading, is the confidence of trading. Now, this could be for new people or for old people who've been trading for years and years, and because people will have ups and people will have downs, right? So when you have the down movement, you still have to take the trades to go back up again. Now, until you initialize, until you understand that you are in a slump, you have to realize you've done something wrong, or you have to realize that you are not doing something. After you have realized that, that is the first process to go back, to get back on the horse again. Now, secondly, with that confidence example, you can tell yourself, okay, this is not for me, and you can leave it. That is up to you. But the fact of the matter is, if you were consistently profitable before, it does mean the only thing that you lack right now is confidence in your trading mechanism. Whatever that trading mechanism may be. Whatever system do you use? Okay, that's to do with confidence. Now, secondly is discipline. Now, discipline comes into play when you are initializing trades, when you are understanding what to do with trades, and what to do it after you've taken trades. Okay, there's multiple segments. So before you even take a trade, you have to be disciplined. When you're in a trade, you have to be disciplined. And after you've already taken a trade, you has to be disciplined. Now, so let's start from the beginning. Before you even enter a trade, there has to be discipline in your trade. Now, what that means is understanding where price must go to and mustn't go to within your system. Now, if you have some sort of a system, you have some sort of an invalidation, or where your stop loss is. Now, where your stop loss is depends on your invalidation of your system. Now, again, this comes into the idea of risk. Risk mitigation and discipline come hand in hand before you even initialize a trade. So you understand what your risk is. You have the discipline to contain that, to hold on to that, and don't go, close out those trades, because we had a similar situation a couple of days ago when people were asking me to close or remove the trades that was on the stream. Right? We got partial fill, and I refused to do that. Why? Because it was a system-based trade, and I'm not gonna remove it just because you feel or you have an emotional feel to that trade, because that is not discipline. That is an emotional response. You leave it. If you get stopped out, you get stopped out. Now, that is before you enter a trade. Now, when you are in a trade, a discipline comes into play when you are realizing profits and managing your trade. Now, where do you realize profits on longs is at resistance levels, correct? Now, when you are putting those profit targets, you put in profit targets, and you have some sort of a system to mitigate that you make money on that trade. Whether it be after it hits second profit target, I'm going to move my stop loss to entry, or I'm going to move my stop loss to below my first profit target. Remember, profit targets are resistance levels. So if something goes above resistance levels, what happens? It becomes support. So after you've initialized 2 profit targets, you can move your stop loss below your first profit target. And that must be automatic. You must not second think this. This must be systematic and automatic. And that is the discipline you will require. The hardest thing in taking 1-minute trades, the trades I've done and shown live on the stream, the hardest thing in those is not to get entries, but to achieve exits. Those are the hardest things, because you have to make a decision and go, this is where I'm going to exit. And you have to remove the idea in your head saying to you, what if we go higher? What if I can make more money? You have to remove that completely and go, this is what I'm going to do. I'm comfortable with 40 points. I'm comfortable with 2%. I'm comfortable with 4%, and I'm out. That is the discipline that you must have. Remove everything else. Make it automated, systematic. Remove everything else. And if you do not have that discipline, this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to initiate a trade, and you're not going to move the stop loss to where you should because you've been greedy, and the market reverses on you, and you lost money maybe, or maybe just broken even. Or, since that has happened, you have now got an emotional tick on your brain that tells you, I didn't move it quick enough before, so what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to move it early. So what we're going to do now is, after you hit your first profit target or whatever, you move the stop loss to profit. And then you get stopped out. Now, you don't want both of those things to happen. So what you want to do is sometimes, or most of the times, or all the time, have some sort of a system that you're going to adhere to. Right? For yourself. Because until you have that, there is no discipline within the mitigation of your trades, within the continuation of your profits. Now, discipline, the part of the discipline is after you've taken the trade. Now, after you've taken the trade, it could either be one of two things, profitable or a losing trade. Either you lost money on that trade or you made money on that trade. And both are still dangerous in terms of emotions. If you made money on that trade, now you are telling yourself, oh my God, I made so much money on that trade. What I'm going to do now is overthink, over leverage, over position myself. Why? Because I have money to burn. That is also wrong. Because you will be wrong. Because that is an emotional status. That is an emotional hit you just got from making money. You just got an emotional hit that makes you think you are the god of trading for that moment in time.
And remind every people on this point. Remind every people how many trades on average you get, like a percentage you get stopped on every day, just from your perspective. Remind the viewership that how many are losing trades that you go through every day.
Correct. So don't.
I'm speaking about you specifically. We should talk about percentage, right?
Yeah.
You know, say if I have a 72% hit rate, or remind people that means that I'm losing how many percent a day.
Correct.
And I think this is really important. If you have a 70% hit rate, it means 30% of the time you're wrong. So you got to think about that too, right? Do you get where I'm coming from in this?
So I generally don't think about those things, because what will come into play if I start thinking about the percentage of hit in basis to what I'm thinking I'm going to lose is the idea of acceptance is not going to play, right? I am fully accepting if I lose. I am fully accepting if I win. There is no but, if, what scenario for me personally, because I am completely happy with getting stopped out or whatever, and anything else to me is gonna be another thing to think about when you're initiating your trade. And when you're initiating your trade, you don't want 10 different things to think about.
I wasn't talking about adding to the stress.
Right.
I was more talking about reality, right?
Right.
Like, you're going to be taking trades. You know, everybody's going to be taking trades, and it's not just about those winning trades. It's all about the process. And maybe I didn't formulate it or verbalize it the proper way, but I think you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I get it. So if you have some sort of a process behind your trading system and you are fully accepting that it could go wrong, because the likelihood of it going wrong might be lower than the likelihood of it working out. And if you have a correct system that is consistent, that is going to be your case, right? If you have a hit rate of 70 to 30, 70 in terms of winning, 30 in terms of losing, then there has to be times where you will be losing. Now, or there are circumstances where you are 70% losing and 30% winning as well. That could be the case as well. And these 70% winners, 30% losers, 40% winners, 60%, all that stuff is not the same. It fluctuates. It fluctuates with market, segment, behavior, thought process, what's happening in the world. It always will fluctuate, because you got to remember, you are trying to trade like a robot, but you are not a robot. Right? You're just trying to copy some segments of it. You're just trying to copy some things of it. You will still trade like a human because you are a human. So there are things that will fluctuate because you're not a robot. So what is very important to keep in mind is the acceptance of that fluctuation. Is the acceptance of, okay, I made money. I have made this much money today. 1%, 2%, 3%, 10%, 20%. Whatever money you made today, it is the acceptance of, okay, I am happy. I am done. Do not go into the idea of, oh my God, I'm in a role. I'm going to keep going. Because that can turn around really quickly. All right. Now, this is the other side of the coin is when you're losing money consistently. Right? You're losing money consistently. What you have to understand is the discipline is understanding what went wrong. Okay? You're going to keep getting, if you are taking a trade based on removing your discipline in your method and putting in trades emotionally because someone told you to, or you perceive an emotional response in the markets and you've taken that trade, you have removed discipline from your trading. And that is a no-no. So you've lost money and you want to make that money back. So what you're doing is you're following someone else to make that money back because you perceive that someone else is better than you. That is not a disciplined trade. That is an emotional response trade because you want to make that money back that you've lost. Now, there's a lot of people in chat who are like that. And I'm telling you right now, that is a wrong mentality to have. Because it removes the discipline in your method, in your mechanism of trade. And if you have no method in your trading, you are not trading. You are gambling. Okay. Now, thirdly is consistency. So consistency in your trading. Now, consistency is important in terms of winning trades as well as potentially losing trades. So you want to be consistent. Some sales coming through in Bitcoin. You want to be consistent in your making of money overall net. Everyone wants that. So what you want to do is consistently have the discipline and the confidence to ignite trades within what you have in terms of your trading scenario. If you're looking at a 4-hour level, a weekly level, a daily level, monthly level, buying below view up, selling above view up, you're using point of control, you're using an indicator of some kind. I don't know what it is, but you have to have the consistency to follow through. And you also have to have the discipline to follow through. So that is consistency. The idea of consistency is going to be throughout everything we say. Consistency in confidence of your trades, consistency in discipline. So you're going to be consistently disciplined in your trade, and there's also the consistency towards having the patience for it, which is the fourth one. Now, having the patience is the fourth one. Patience is very important in trading. Now, there's two types. Patience in looking at your trade system, and patience is waiting for it to get hit. And there is the patience in waiting for your profit targets to be hit, not removing your plan, not shifting the blame to something else and going, oh, I'm going to close it. Now, there are times like that where that is required, but in a general sense, you want to wait for your entries to get hit and you wait for your exits to get hit. So patience is really important. Now, this is in trading, but there's also patience in learning how to trade. You are not going to be able to trade as soon as you learn how to trade. You're not going to be profitable to trade as soon as you learn how to trade. That's not how it works. There is no cheat code behind trading. The cheat codes behind trading is actually trading. improvements, discipline, consistency, confidence in your entries, confidence in your exit, waiting for things to happen, letting it play out, etc., etc., etc. And the most important thing out of all those 4 out of 5 is the actual passion to trade. Now, what I mean by passion to trade means passion to trade after you know how to trade. Because if you have passion to trade before you even know how to trade, you do not have passion to trade. You have passion to gamble. Because remember, you do not know how to trade. Okay? Passion comes after you have the realization, you have the methods, you have the consistency, you have the system behind yourself. Then when the passion will come, then you start sitting behind a computer and taking trades. But until you know those things, until you have achieved those things, you are not trading with passion. You're trading with emotion, and you are gambling in the markets. Because that's not what passion is. Passion to trade comes afterwards. Now, these are the things that are more important than understanding of levels, zone, or whatever, because you are not a robot, but you must behave and trade very less emotionally. Maybe not like a robot, but you must trade very systematically and emotionlessly. And because of those reasons, most people will lose money. And because of those reasons, most people will actually make money. Those people who have learned and have the confidence and the discipline and the consistency and the patience, and of course, last and not least, the passion to ignite trades, hold on to their trades until their system pans out, or remove those trades after their system has panned out. Exit your trades. Don't be too greedy. Don't be all that stuff, right? These are the most important things in trading, because it goes down, it deeps dive into your emotional triggers, because that's the hardest thing in trading. Because most of you guys here have lost money in the markets. Because most of you guys here who came here to quote unquote trade because you were going through the bull market and you were all making money, and then what happened? Everything started crashing down, and then you decided and you told yourself, okay, I want to know how not to lose money in these markets. And that's why you came here, to this chat, to other groups, to other YouTube channels. That was the reason for it. You lost money. That's the only reason you would come to a place like this. Because you wouldn't come here if you made money, if you've been consistently making money. You wouldn't do that. You would come here because you want to either have an idea of how to make more money or consistently more money, or you lost money. So you already have something in your back of your head telling you not to do things emotionally. To do things emotionally, and not to do something that might be logic based, because you are emotional about it, because you lost money before, etc., etc., etc. So you're already in a losing position. Let's be real. You are already in a losing position. Whether you know it or not it's not the question. I know it because I can see it every day on the chat. Whether you know it or you realize it or not, that's up to you. Right? Because most people don't realize this until someone says it and then it hits them. Because they don't see it themselves, because they're blind. So the most important things, more than anyone else, for you guys in the chat here who were losing traders before and did lose money in the markets before, is more than anything else, it is to follow these principles of emotionless, biasless trading, mechanistic trading systems that is fully functional and based on logic, maths, and systems. Anything else, you throw it out the window, because you do not have time, nor do you have the patience to use other things that are a little bit emotionally based than the rigid system that you're trying to acquire here. And what you're trying to acquire here is rigid mindset. And the last and most important thing, you will not and will never be able to trade like me. You will not and never be able to trade like Mike. You will not and never be able to trade like Tempos. That is not going to happen. That is not how it works. You will, however, be able to get and grasp small things from the way I trade, from the way Mike trades, from the way Tempos trades, and grab it and put it into your own trading mechanism and hybridize it. Create your own system. Something I've been saying from day one. Create your own system. Don't steal systems from other people because you don't know the big picture. You don't know the mechanism behind it. You just all you see is the tip of the iceberg. You don't know what's behind them. Since you don't know the foundation of that mechanism, you cannot implement it. The only way you could is using small things from that mechanism and putting it into your own system. And this is what people have to realize. All right? People have to realize that. Like, really realize that. Don't just nod and go, okay, I agree. Actually realize that. Because that's the worst thing in trading, is you trying to trade like someone else and you keep consistently losing money, and what you have done is you completely disregard what that someone else has said, right? What that someone else has said, and you're saying to yourself, okay, this guy's obviously wrong because I've been following his trades for so long and he's been consistently wrong, right? That's not the way, that's not the case, that's not the system, because you don't know his or her system. You don't know what he or she is saying, or what he or she is seeing. You don't know his bigger picture. You don't know his hedges. You don't know his portfolio. You don't know a lot of other things. Practice makes perfect. It is a very simple answer, but it's the right answer. You have to grasp the idea of transitioning from a losing trader to a winning trader. And most of you guys out there are losing traders. You have to transition. You have to transition first. Until that happens, until you have that transition between losers and winners and consistency, you will not be making money. You'll be making money for a couple of months, but you'll probably lose it all. Until you have that understanding. Alright? So, I hope everyone understood, or at least vaguely understood, what I've gone through there. Because these things are very important in trading. Very important. Alright? That's it. That's enough. I mean, most of these things and most of the stuff I just talked about and summarized, we've been through this multiple times before. Probably this is my 20th or 30th time I've talked about this. But these are the things you need to keep in mind in your head, right? Because everyone can see levels. Everyone can see zones and levels. If you've been charting for a couple of months, you'll be able to look at levels because they're just in the charts. They're in your face. All right. But even after you see levels, even after you understand the basics of what's happening, you're still not making money because of these reasons. Because you do not have the other stuff, the more important stuff. Because levels, zones, all that shit is just in front of you. You just need to open a chart and it's just there. It's not hard to see those. If you've been chatting for a couple of months, you'll be able to see it. What is hard is the habits, exactly. The idea, the mentality of a losing trade. You have to remove that. You have to transition from that to a winning trader. The winning trader mentality. Removing the bias, removing the emotions, and transitioning. Until you do that, not necessarily change your personality. You cannot change your personality. Change the way you initiate trades. Change the way you get out of trades. Change the way you enter trades. You can change those. So there's confidence, discipline, consistency, patience, and passion. So confidence and patience, passion. You discipline. You miss, consistency. Yeah, you're missing consistency. Okay. So those are the things you would require to be a consistent trader, because that's what is required.
You're listening to the #1 spot for markets and trading, Market Traders TV. Learn some shit.